In the mid-6th century, the collapse of the mighty Vakataka dynasty fractured the geopolitical landscape of southern India. Rival warlords and emerging states immediately began fighting for control of the surviving territories. One group caught in this scramble was the Chalukyas. They weren't royalty. They operated as feudatories, vassals who managed land and paid tribute to the Kadamba Empire. But Pulakeshin I saw his opening. With the central lords distracted, he stopped answering calls and claimed sovereignty. To physically cement his new status as an independent king, Pulakeshin established a fortified capital at Vatapi, known today as Badami, utilizing the sheer cliff faces as a natural military defense. His successor, Kirtivarman I, validated their royal claim by going on the offensive. He aggressively conquered neighboring states, including their former Kadamba masters, expanding the new kingdom from the eastern to the western coast. Slowing down, the Chalukyas had successfully stolen an empire from their masters. But to govern these massive new borders, they had to appoint their own feudatories to manage the land, planting the seeds of their future collapse. That system was tested immediately upon Kirtivarman's death. His rightful heir, Pulakeshin II, was only a child. To maintain order, the court appointed the boy's uncle, Mangalesh, to act as regent. Mangalesh refused to let go of his temporary authority. Instead of eventually yielding the throne to his nephew, he plotted to install his own son as the next king. Facing execution, young Pulakeshin II fled into exile in Kolar. There, he raised a rebel army of his own, eventually marching back to Badami to kill his uncle and reclaim the crown. But the kingdom's subordinate rulers had been watching. Feudatory strongmen like Apayak and Govind sensed weakness during this family civil war and immediately launched armed revolts against the new king. Pulakeshin II responded with overwhelming force. He crushed the uprising, forcing Apayak to flee the battlefield and Govind to beg for a truce, hammering the vassals back into submission. This exposed the reality of their political structure. A feudal empire only holds together as long as the central king is an unchallengeable warrior. Any moment of instability triggers an instant internal rebellion. The ultimate external test of Pulakeshin II's strength came from the north. King Harshavardhana of the massive Pushyabhuti dynasty marched his forces south, clashing with the Chalukyas at the natural boundary of the rocky Narmada River. Pulakeshin II held the line. He halted the northern advance entirely, elevating the Chalukyas to the undisputed superpower of southern India. Yet this success created a logistical problem. The empire was now too large for one man to govern. To maintain control, Pulakeshin appointed his younger brother, Kubja Vishnu Vardhana, as governor of the newly conquered eastern Vengi region. Pulakeshin pushed even further, invading the rival Pallava kingdom to the south. He seized their capital, Kanchi, but he severely overextended his military reach and was killed on the battlefield. His death triggered an immediate collapse. Instead of sending troops to protect the vulnerable Badami capital, his brother in Vengi permanently severed ties, establishing the rival Eastern Chalukya Empire. In a feudal system, delegating power to family members doesn't secure the borders. It simply funds a fully equipped rival state, waiting for the central ruler to die. With the main Chalukya forces shattered, the rival Pallavas marched north, occupying the southern Chalukya provinces and holding them for 13 years. The empire seemed finished, until a resurgence generations later. Pulakeshin's great-grandson, Vikramaditya II, went on the offensive, attacking and sacking the Pallava capital of Kanchipuram 3 separate times. Vikramaditya II understood that lasting control required the support of the conquered. He donated his looted gold directly back into the Kanchi temples, turning the religious heart of the enemy city into the foundation of his own legitimacy. The strategy worked, but the continuous military campaigns took a toll. By the time his successor, Kirtivarman II, returned home from yet another Pallava expedition, his royal forces were exhausted and militarily depleted. A trusted feudatory from the Rashtrakuta clan, Danti Durga, saw his opportunity. Recognizing the king's vulnerability, Danti Durga mobilized his own regional forces, launched a rebellion, and captured the Badami capital. With that single strike, the reign of the Badami Chalukyas was permanently extinguished. Their story forms a perfect loop. They proved that while feudal delegation allows upstarts to conquer the world, no amount of military genius or public goodwill can ultimately outrun the ruthless math of a vassal's ambition.